Welcome you all to a new cast, this time between the players DivineDFP playing as the French and Leenock playing as the Abbasid, and we're playing on the map Dry Arabia. So Dry Arabia, a really open map with a lot of opportunities to raid from all different kind of angles. So playing the French is a logical choice on this map, just because you're gonna go in those royal knights and they've got a lot of angles and opportunities to kill villages of the opponent. Leenock on the other hand chose the Abbasid. The Abbasid, a good counter, the best counter against the French civilization, simply because they have the Spearman upgrade, which increases their range with 100%. So let's check out the openings. We got Leenock. He built a mill at the berries because they increase the amount of berries a bush has from 250 to 350. So he's got a lot more food on this berries and other berries he built some mill at. And going for that gold mine simply because he wants 400 food and 200 gold to go to the next age. Already building the House of Wisdom, wondering which wing he will go, because we see some trade wing playing now, but probably still going military wing. That's a more typical way to go. And the other end, DivineDFP. Well, DivineDFP is going his own 2TC opening probably. He's playing French a lot and he's playing every map and every opponent civilization in the same way. 7 on food, 3 on gold, 5 on wood and then 8 on stone. With a little redistribution of villages here and there to go for that 2TC opening. That's what DivineDFP is really now known for at this moment. Going that double town center opening with a really strong push around 18 till 20 minutes mark, with probably 2 archer ranges and 2 stables, because that's what DivineDFP is spamming game after game. So both players scouting around the map, collecting sheep, looking where the deer are at, the gold mines are at, just to get the information you want to possible raids or possible plays the opponent can do. And DivineDFP is probably gonna look for a good spot for a second town center. So he has got a good option over here with the deer and the forest. Those are 2 good resources to have. And he also has the opportunity to take the deer over here together with the stone. So I think this spot is better if you look at the resources, but it's really forward to Leenock's base. So this option, this place, will probably be a safer play. So well, let's see what DivineDFP is gonna do. Leenock on the other hand is going the economic wing. Of course the economic wing. I was talking about the military wing, but economic wing is the most typical choice, because you're gonna get fresh foodstuffs, which reduces the cost of village by 50%. So a little mistalking by me there. DivineDFP already finished his wheelbarrow, so DivineDFP going for a heavy macro build with this 2TC and wheelbarrow opening. So only now the School of Cavalry, actually the only viable choice for French, because the Chamber of Commerce just isn't good enough, and the School of Cavalry gives the option for knights and produces knights and horsemen 20% faster, so that's always a good landmark to have. So we see Divine scouting out Leenock a bit, collecting all the sheep he can just to have some good food income, and Leenock just building up his own base and reach the feudal age a little bit sooner than DivineDFP, but Divine doesn't mind. He likes to go a little bit later on the feudal age just to get the 2TC and a lot of defenses. So let's see where he's gonna go at. We still don't see any villages over here. We still don't see any villages over there. So how many stone does he have? 200. So Divine typically goes around 400 stone. 300 stone for the second town center, and then he still has 100 stone to put to outposts with arrow slits. They got increased range, they do some damage. It's a good defense, static defense mechanism. On the other hand, Divine also just scouting around Leenock, seeing he's on the berries, seeing he's going to start collecting stone now, and seeing he's collecting gold. Leenock probably scouted out that Divine is going that second town center and decided to start his own second town center, because this is a little bit late, even against the French. It's more typical for Embassy to go a second town center play, but well, you know, he already got the barracks, so it's a pretty safe second town center opening from Leenock, when he could have gone a more greedy second town center play if he already would have known that DivineDFP always goes that 2 town center play. So Leenock's built a stable, getting horsemen out, preparing to raid here and there. We already see the scout of DivineDFP bringing back sheep, and we see the second town center coming up. And this is so funny about Leenock, this is so good. He's skidding the deer away from the town center and then killing them. So the villagers have to walk a little bit of extra distance and have a little bit of slower harvesting food time. Those are the little things Leenock can do which we can't, just simply because his micro is so good and he's so good at doing like 4 or 5 things at the same time. DivineDFP as a response is going to build a mill next to those deer that are skidded away. It's still pretty safe because it's still pretty near the town center. Leenock is just trying his best to get this little bit of advantage and just be annoying. And DivineDFP just doing his typical build. An outpost with arrow slits at the second town center. No outpost at his own base mat. Just harvesting a lot of gold, harvesting a lot of wood. He's just macroing his way up. Starting economic upgrades already, like survival techniques and double broad axe. So Divine is with some horsemen raiding over here. Let's see if they take down a villager. But no, they all hop in the town center for a safe place. So Divine is feeling really comfortable in his position because he's choosing to invest a lot of resources in economical upgrades like survival techniques, double broad axe. Is he already getting something like horticulture? No, that's not, but I'm expecting horticulture as well if you're getting the forestry, double broad axe, specialized picking on the way now. So DivineDFP really heavy on the economical investments to ensure he's got a really strong push around the 20-minute mark. 20 minutes is a really the 20-minute mark is a timing which is a really strong timing for the French. The French players tend to be strongest at about 20 to 25 minutes. So Leenock opted for his own second town center near the deer patch over here. He's got berries, he's got gold, he's got wood. It's like the perfect second town center location. Building a wall over here just to keep the knights of the French civilization out. So we got some action over here. Oh, it's some horsemen on scout action. So Leenock building a wall just to limit the mobility of the French player, and so the French player has to go through this town center or go through the town center over here if he wants to reach the villages of Leenock. There's an option where Divine can go around and go behind the back of his base, but that's gonna take so much walking time. And we got some little we got some knight on horseman action, and I'm probably gonna think because the knight's gonna win, because horsemen are good against archers, horsemen are good for raiding, but the knights are so much stronger, and especially those French royal knights, because with chivalry they're healing 1 HP every second. That's one of the perks of the French civilization. We see bloomery getting up, so there's a blacksmith down, because France also gets the free attack upgrades in the blacksmith every time you age up. That's some of the perks the French player has. One of the other perks the French player has: building villagers in only 17 seconds. So that's all the good things the French player has. So we see forestry coming up. We even see siege engineering already coming up. So that's pretty early. Because we don't see that many archers yet. I see one archer over here. He already got 2 archery range, 3 archery ranges here. I have to look better. 3 archery ranges, a stable, skull of cavalry. So Divine going for his famous push around the 18-minute mark with a lot of knights, a lot of archers, some rams, and gonna try to take the opponent down. So the first 10 minutes of the game, he took the opportunity to make all those upgrades, like specialized pick, double broadaxe, forestry, wheelbarrow. So he's gonna spam out units in the later stage of the game and try to overwhelm his opponent with a mass of units and rams. Leenock on the other hand is getting scouted, is making another stable, 2 barracks. And we see some action here. It's only a wolf. Wolves are just teasing, are just pesting this villager. Some knights coming in for the villagers. They're gonna go and take down one. They take down, no, only 1 village attack's taken down. And the knights done their job. They created some idle time. They killed a villager. They're satisfied. And they're going back and they're gonna heal up. In the meantime, DivineDFP still getting annoyed by the wolf. Still the wolf is trying to kill those knights, and the Leenock went castle age behind this. So we've got DivineDFP and we got some action over here. A scout trying to kill those villagers at the deer, but there's already an outpost up, so Divine's very safe in this position. So we've got a French player going ham on the knights and the archers and the rams. Gonna put an offensive tower over here, and the knights go in again and they're gonna meet some spearmen. Oh, Leenock hit some spearmen behind the wall, behind the trees, and they're gonna take down those knights. But the knights just too strong, just chopping away, killing those spearmen, killing those horsemen. And look at how many units Leenock lost, and Divine didn't lose anything. He saved all his knight. And if you look at the HP, really good micro by DivineDFP, and we're probably gonna see, yes, there we see the little green plus ticking in the healing for the Royal Knights of DivineDFP. So Leenock in a tough position now, because he went castle age, it's a big investment, and DivineDFP invested a lot in a ram push. So we're gonna get a really aggressive push, and Leenock trying to circle around, trying to backstab our DivineDFP French player. On the other hand, we see spearmen coming the other way to the ram, trying to burn it down, and lancers, horsemen, spearmen getting into the action. The archers picking off the spearmen. That's so important. Knights chasing them away, and Leenock really wants those spearmen to connect him with the knights. But the ram gonna taken down by the villagers on the other side, and they run away just in time. And Divine didn't manage to, and Leenock is intercepting all those reinforcements. Divine taking down those archers and backing off again. He's got a little bit what he wanted. You see a little bit more archers, gonna pick them off too. Spearmen connecting with those knights of DivineDFP, taking down 1 knight, almost taking out 2 knights. The archers shooting down those spearmen. They're just one-shotting them one by one, and oh, it gets guided in a circle, and all those spearmen are gone. And once the spearmen are gone, the knights are free reign, and the knights are just too powerful. You can be in H3, you can have lancers, but with so many knights, we've got like 9 knights against 2 lancers. That's just too hard for Leenock to deal with. We've got another tower going up. He's getting closer and closer. Another ram going up. DivineDFP just spamming those units, just sending on reinforcements. He's just gonna mass and try to take down the second town center with some rams. Leenock on the other hand made a decent mass of spearmen, of lancers, some horsemen to counter the army of DivineDFP, and is gonna burn down the ram. He's gonna torch the way out of it. So knights coming in, archers coming in, archers sniping at those spearmen again. Knights running away, screening the archers. The archers just step back and kiting those spearmen, shooting them one by one, and the knights just taking damage for the archers, trying to keep the lancers and horsemen away. And the archers are just cleaning up the spearmen one by one. And DivineDFP even got some tower fire to support it, and little by little the army of Leenock gets traded away, and the archers are just guiding away and taking down those spearmen. The knights engaging with those lancers, even when they're a little bit weaker than the lancers, they're just a mass of units that Leenock cannot go up against, and they have to flee away. So good engagement by DivineDFP, and in the meanwhile the ram is still hitting on the town center, got it burning down, so probably it's gonna be lost for Leenock. So we've got a military of 30 for DivineDFP and 72 villagers. On the other hand, we've got Leenock on 64 villagers and 5 military. So a big military disadvantage, a little bit economical disadvantage, but losing that second town center. So Leenock really in a pickle now. He's behind on villagers. He's only got one town center left and he's behind on military. The only advantage that he has is that H3 and those units and upgrades that come with H3. So knights connecting with his villagers here, taking down one villager, taking down two villagers again dead. So Leenock is being pushed back into his base, pushed in a really defensive position, and Leenock as a response going ham on the stone. He really wants that 800 stone, probably wants to put up a keep somewhere near his town center. Knights coming in, chasing down those villagers. He just wants to connect with them, killing everything he can. Just every villager counts in this state of the game. And they pull out again, and it's gonna go ham on the rams, and those rams are gonna mess up the real economy of Leenock. And Leenock just mining stone like a madman because he wants that defensive keep to keep him in the game. On the other hand, it's a real big advancement, and DivineDFP coming for his push again. Third ram incoming, and Leenock is standing with a lot of idle villagers, and he sees the rams incoming. And he's thinking by himself, I can't win this game anymore, and he taps out. It's a strong game by DivineDFP. Good game by Leenock as well, but I think that when Leenock decided to go for that castle age, and DivineDFP decided to go for that ram push, that was the turn in the game in Divine's favor, because Leenock was investing a lot in his H3. That's a big economical investment, and Divine chose to do a massive military push. So if one player who has a small army because he wants to go to the next age and all those perks that come with it, and the other player going really aggressive because he wants to force something with his military. So I think that was the decision that made this game. So I'll see you again at the next stream, at the next cast. See you later and good evening.